Welcome to your mat. Thank you so much for joining me today and for bringing your energy and yourself exactly as you are. Before we get started, I want to just remind you that I am here offering suggestions for what pose to move into next. I am feeling this in my own body, and you are feeling this in your own body. We can make the exact same shape, we can do the same pose, but we'll feel it a little differently in each body. So I want to take a moment and just acknowledge that, and to remind you to honor, to listen to, and to respect your own body in our practice. Remember that you have control over your body, over the poses, over how long we hold them, over how deep you take them, and everything that you're feeling. Adjusting in or out of a pose is wonderful, and I encourage you to explore that, always keeping respect of your body as the number one priority. We can take our body into shapes that may be new, find stretches that are new. Maybe we find a way to access something in a new way, but our practice should never be painful. Our yoga practice should never hurt. There's a difference between a really deep stretch or a really intense sensation and pain. You know what that difference is, and I'm just reminding you to stay present with that and do not pursue a stretch, a pose, or a shape into that point of pain. If you find yourself in pain, please do not hold the pose. You can always take a child's pose. You can modify any kind of way that you need. You can take a moment to sit on the mat, anything at all that honors and respects your body in your practice today. I will also do the same. With that introduction and caveat kind of out of the way, we can go ahead and get started with our practice. I invite you to come into any kind of seated shape that feels good for your body today. That might mean cross-legged, that might mean a butterfly pose, that might mean a hero's pose, that might mean sitting on a blanket or a bolster, that might mean sitting in a chair. Just find that shape that feels good for your body today. And I invite you to close the eyes. Have a deep breath in through the nose and imagine filling up from your seat all the way up to the crown of the head, getting a little taller. And as you exhale, I invite you to imagine softening and scanning back down the body, releasing tension from the scalp and the forehead, softening at the corners of the eyes, relaxing the ears and the jaw. Imagine unrolling vertebrae by vertebrae down the spine to the hips, which are heavy, and then softening down the legs past the knees to the ankles and toes. I invite you to pause here with the eyes closed for another few cycles of breath, breathing in and out through the nose, feeling that rise and fall of breath in the body, that gentle expansion and that contraction drawing back in towards center. And letting the sensation, that rhythm, the feeling of the breath in the body bring us onto the mat right here, right now. Begin to arrive in the body. Open the eyes, maybe sitting up a little taller, have a big breath in. And as we exhale, bring the left ear towards the left shoulder. Roll the right shoulder down. Float the right hand off of the leg, reaching away from the body. You can wiggle the fingers or keep them still, and imagine lengthening from the crown of the head to the right ear, to the shoulder, all the way to the right fingers. Spreading the fingers wide on your inhale, rotate up. Exhale, rotate back. 2 more with your breath. Looking for that rotation all the way from fingertips to shoulder. As you bring the palm to face the body, let the fingers come down to the floor. I'm staying active in that stretch, still lengthening on the right side. I'm going to let the fingers touch the floor, and on the breath in, bring the chin over the left shoulder. Exhale, ear over shoulder. 2 more with breath. On the breath in, bring the crown of the head up, right hand back to the lap or the leg. Big breath in, fill up. Exhale, right ear to right shoulder. Roll the left shoulder down. I'm going to float the left hand off of the leg, reaching away from the body. Imagine lengthening from the crown of the head to the left ear, to the shoulder, to the fingers. Spreading the fingers wide. Inhale, rotate that left palm up. Exhale, back. 2 more, full range of motion. As the palm faces the body, let the fingers come down to the floor, staying active in that stretch, reaching out and down. Inhale the chin to the right shoulder. Exhale, ear over shoulder. 2 more with your breath. Inhale the crown of the head up, left hand back to the lap or the leg. I'm going to draw circles with the shoulders, taking one up and one down. It doesn't matter which direction, we'll switch it up in a minute. You can start the circle small, you can add in some movement in the elbows, you can kind of look over the opposite shoulder, make this movement as big as you want. And when you're ready, we'll reverse, drawing the circles the other way. Awesome. And come on back to center. If we're sitting cross-legged, I'm going to take the right leg in front. If you are in a butterfly shape, when I say switch sides, you'll just keep your butterfly shape because it's already symmetrical. Bringing the hands to the thighs, I'm going to gently press the hands into the legs, sitting up tall. Big breath in, and on the exhale, I'm going to bend the left elbow and start leaning out to the left. If you have a block, you can bring it under the forearm, or you can just simply bring the hand to the floor. Pressing gently into the right thigh, I'm leaning away. Take a look over your left shoulder and see if we can bring the stretch from the right hip all the way up to the right ear. When you're ready, bringing the neck neutral, inhale that right arm up and over. You can keep the arm straight or bent, bringing the fingers behind the ears, and try to roll that right shoulder open. Roll that right shoulder back, opening the heart space towards the sky. When you're ready, start to bring that right hand forward, bringing the left hand to the left leg and the right hand to the right leg, exhaling back. Drawing seated circles and making this warm-up movement whatever you need it to be today. You can pause. You can make the movements really kind of dramatic, whatever feels good. And when you're ready, come back to center. We'll switch the cross on the legs or stay in butterfly, taking the left leg in front, bringing the hands to the thighs and gently pressing down. Think about lengthening the spine, getting a little taller. Big breath in, and on the exhale, I'm going to bend the right elbow and lean out to the right. Again, feel free to bring a block under the forearm here, or you can simply bring the hand or even knuckles to the floor. As I press into that left leg and I lean away, I start to let the stretch kind of settle or sink in on the left side. I'm going to look over the right shoulder. When you're ready, bringing the neck neutral, float the left arm up and over. It can stay straight or bent, and we just get long on that left side, rolling the left shoulder back, letting the left hip stay heavy. Bringing that left hand forward, left hand to the left leg, right hand to the right leg, exhaling back. I'm now drawing my circles counterclockwise. Again, make the movement whatever you need it to be today. Warming up your shoulders, your back, your hips. And coming back to center. I'm going to float the arms up and out, reach to the left, reach to the right, roll the shoulders down. I'm going to squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other on the back to open up across the chest just a little more. And imagine we're pressing down the hands into stacks of books or boxes. So I'm active in the arms here. Press the crown of the head up, sitting up tall. On the inhale, rotate the palms up and reach up, maybe even look up. Exhale, spin the palms away from each other, bring the fingertips to the floor. If it feels good, tuck the chin to the chest. Inhaling up. Exhaling open. One more. Inhale both arms up. As we exhale, I'm going to start to rotate the trunk or the upper body to the left. Bring the left hand to the floor, right arm comes across the body. As you breathe in, imagine getting taller. As you breathe out, look over that back left shoulder. Imagine softening in the lower back, low belly. Leaving the right hand on the left knee, I'm going to untwist the upper body. I'm going to bring the left arm across. So I've crossed arms to knees, the left arm on top. Big breath in on the exhale. As I press the knees down, I round the spine and tuck the chin towards the chest. Imagine pressing back, breathing into the space between the shoulders on the back side of the body. And when you're ready, gently release the knees. We come back up to neutral. Floating the arms up and out, reach the left, reach the right, roll the shoulders down, give a little squeeze between the shoulder blades, and imagine pressing down into stacks of books or boxes, feeling for the core muscles, the obliques, the abdominal muscles, and the muscles on the back to hold up the upper body here. Inhale, rotate up, reach up. Exhale, open. 2 more with your breath. Inhaling the arms up and pause. We're going to rotate to the right. Bring the right hand to the floor. Left arm comes across and finds maybe like the right knee or the thigh. As you breathe in, get taller. As you breathe out, look back over the right shoulder. Leaving the left hand on the right knee, I'm going to untwist the upper body, bring the right arm across. Big breath in, and on the exhale, press the knees down, rounding the spine, tuck the chin towards the chest, feeling for that stretch on the back of the body. Gently release and come back up through neutral. I'm going to uncross the legs and find a butterfly shape, feet together, knees wide. I'm going to take the hands to the front of the knees. I'm pressing the feet together, I'm pressing the knees down, so I'm active here. And then I'm going to check in with the spine. If I'm arching or I'm kind of collapsed around it, I'm going to look for my neutral. Imagine you're sitting up against a wall. Press the back of the shoulders, the mid-back, and the back of the hips into that wall behind you. Feet are pressing together, knees are pressing down. Big breath in. On the exhale, imagine hinging from the hips, leading from the collarbones, pressing the crown of the head forward. Feel free to adjust where you're holding, from the knees to like maybe the shins or the ankles. You can even touch the feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. Imagine closing like a drawbridge here, keeping the spine pretty well neutral. One more deep breath in. On the exhale, I'm going to take the elbows, the forearms to the floor with the palms up, rounding the spine. Let the crown of the head face the feet. Big breath in. On the exhale, walk those hands back in. We come back upright. I'm going to take the hands to the knees and close. I'm going to take the hands to the front of the knees or behind the thighs, whichever feels better. I'm going to lift the toes, spread them wide, and plant the toes deliberately back down into the floor. Think about little suction cups coming down. Imagine gripping the toes, gripping the feet into the floor. I'm going to sit up tall, once again finding my neutral. Big breath in. On the exhale, round back. Inhaling up. Instead of pressing the belly forward, draw the shoulder blades towards each other and lift the chest up. Tuck the chin slightly up. Exhaling back. Moving through a variation of our cat-cow here. Inhaling up. Exhaling back. Move with your breath a few more times. And when you're ready, come back up to neutral. I'm going to take the hands behind the thighs and I'm going to rock and roll forwards and backwards for two reasons. I want to stretch the spine, which is great if you've been sitting all day. And I also want to build up some momentum so I can come up and over into tabletop. So make sure that you've got plenty of space on your mat and just start to rock and roll. Keep the neck neutral, so that means you're gazing towards the knees as you move. Feeling for that articulation, that stretch from the shoulders all the way to the back of the hips, and kind of massaging out the back as we rock and roll forwards and backwards. When you're ready, we're going to come all the way up and over into our tabletop. Knees are hip width under the hips, hands are under the shoulders. We can curl the toes or press the tops of the feet into the floor, whatever feels good for you. Let's spread the fingers out wide and then check in with the spine. If we're letting the spine kind of hang or make this like hammock shape, I'm going to press into the hands to lift the heart space. I'm going to tuck the tailbone forward just enough to take that little dip out of the low back. Press the crown of the head forward. Imagine someone was tugging on your tail and on the top of the head. We get nice and long. Big breath in on the exhale. Cat. Inhale for cow. Still pressing the hands into the floor, tucking the chin up. Exhale. Cat. Inhale for cow. Tailbone back. Exhale, rounding down. Lift the belly button. Crown of the head faces the floor. Scoop the tailbone forward. And back to neutral. I want to take an opportunity in this shape to get into the wrists a little bit, especially if we do computer work, we write, we've been sitting at a desk all day, the wrists can be a little bit sensitive. I'm going to keep the fingers spread wide, and I'm going to rotate the palms to face out to the left and right. I am keeping the hands under the shoulders, so I'm being careful not to bring the hands too close in or really far out, but I want to keep the shoulders supported. Fingers are pointing out to the left and right, fingers are spread wide. If you're really tight in the wrists, this may already be a stretch for you. You're welcome to stay right here. You can also play with shifting just ever so slightly from side to side. As you shift into a hand, more weight into the right side gives a stretch on the right. More weight into the left side gives a stretch on the left. Coming back to center. I'm going to turn the palms, the fingers forward once again. I'm going to curl the toes and extend the right leg out long, pressing into the hands, tucking the tailbone forward, so I'm taking that little arch out of the low back. Big breath in. On the exhale, I'm going to press or lean back into that right heel. Imagine you were going to put a footprint on the floor behind you. You can either extend the neck neutral, or if it feels okay, you can let the head hang. You can also play with spreading the toes wide. Shifting weight from right pinky toe to right big toe will change the calf stretch on that right leg. Gently shifting forward. Bend the right knee, bring it back under the right hip, and we'll switch sides. Left leg out long, press into the hands, tuck the tailbone forward. Big breath in. On the exhale, lean into that left heel. Spreading the toes wide, maybe letting the head hang. Shifting forward, rebending that left knee. I'm going to walk the knees wide, bring the big toes to touch, and send the hips down to the heels behind. I'm going to walk the hands mat width, maybe even come up onto fingertips, so I'm lifting the palms. Big breath in, and on the exhale, I'm going to crawl the fingers forward, letting the heart space melt down between the biceps, letting the chin or the forehead come to the floor. I will stay here with the hands lifted for a few breaths. And whenever you're ready, let the elbows, the forearms, the palms come to the mat. softening through the shins, the knees, the thighs, the belly, the chest, the arms, and the hands. Have a full deep breath in, and on the exhale, start to round the spine, walk the hands back in. I'm going to swing the legs around, either to the left or to the right, to come into a seat on the hips. And we're going to find some leg stretches here. I'm going to keep the left leg in front. I'm going to open the right leg out into a half straddle. I'm also going to flex the right foot, and that hopefully will help me not kind of roll in the hip joint here. So if I'm flexing the foot and the kneecap and the toes are pointing up, I'm a little bit more stable, a little more steady in that joint. I'm going to take the right hand to the inside of the right leg, left hand to the left hip. I'm going to sit up tall. Think about shifting equal weight through both hips. I'm going to press the right hand into the leg so I can kind of turn the upper body. Imagine facing the shoulders out over that left knee. I'm going to keep that rotation in the trunk. Big breath in. On the exhale, we reached on the inside of that right leg. You can hold at the ankle or the calf. You can hold at the arch of the foot. If you want to bring the stretch into the calf, you can wrap the hand over the toes for a very flexed shape here in the foot. Whatever we are doing, let's check back in with that left shoulder. If it's kind of creeping forward, let's roll the left shoulder back. Remember, we're rotating heart space, shoulders open to the left. Neutral through the neck, and if you want to deepen the stretch, bend the right elbow. If you'd like to bring the stretch up a little bit higher on the left side of the body, bring that left arm up and over. You can keep the arm straight. You can bend at the elbow if this feels better on the shoulder, maybe bringing the left fingers behind the left ear. Slowly inhaling back up. Beautiful. I'm going to take the right foot straight forward now. So the right ankle, right knee, and right hip straight forward. I'm going to take the hands to the floor. I'm on fingertips. I'm going to sit up straight, and I'm squaring up the shoulders and the hips straight forward. So if my shoulders and hips are kind of pointing off to the left, I'm going to rotate the right shoulder, right hip back. Big breath in, and on the exhale, we're going to crawl the fingers forward and imagine hinging at the hips. Instead of rounding at the spine, rounding at the heart space and drawing the heart back, I want to lead from the heart space. I'm looking for a stretch in the back of the right leg. Try to soften the jaw. Maybe close the eyes and have a few soft, slow breaths here. Inhale, imagine lengthening from the heel to the hips, up the spine. As we exhale, imagine softening forward. On your inhale, walking the hands back in, and we'll come back upright. We're going to switch sides. Left leg out into a half straddle. Right foot kind of tucks in front. I'm going to keep that left foot flexed. Take the left hand inside of the left leg, right hand to the right hip. I'm going to think about sitting equal weight through both hips, shoulders over the hips. And I'm going to press gently my left hand into that leg to start to turn the heart space, the upper body, to point over that right knee. Right hand to the right hip, big breath in. On the exhale, I'm going to start to reach down the inside of that left leg. You can reach for the calf, the ankle, the arch of the foot, or even over the top of the foot to really help flex the foot and bring that stretch down a little lower into the calf. Whatever variation, wherever we're holding here, let's check in with the right shoulder. If it's kind of creeping forward and the heart space is kind of facing down, let's roll that right shoulder back, look up over the right side, and imagine spiraling the heart open towards the ceiling, open towards the sky. Feeling a stretch in the right QL, so like kind of the back side of the hip, low back, right in here. And of course, you're welcome to stay right here. If you'd like to bring the stretch up a little higher in the body, the right arm can come up and over. It can be bent or straight, whatever feels better in your right shoulder. keep rotating that right shoulder back like we're trying to open up towards the sky. When you're ready, slowly inhaling back up. We're going to bring the left foot straight forward. Left ankle, left knee, left hip in line, squaring up the shoulders and the hips straight forward towards that left foot. I'm going to take the hands to the floor. Neutral spine, big breath in. On the exhale, imagine hinging from the hips, leading with the collarbones. On your inhale, imagine lengthening. As you exhale, imagine softening. If you have blocks, it's great to bring blocks under the arms on medium or even highest height, under the hands or under the elbows. Big breath in. On the exhale, slowly walk those hands back in. Beautiful. I'm going to swing that left knee around. One more time, I'm going to come through my tabletop. Keeping the hands on the floor under the shoulders, fingers spread wide. I'm going to curl the toes. Press into the hands, tuck the tailbone slightly forward. Big breath in. On the exhale, I'm going to hover the knees. Keep the knees hip width and imagine the shins are parallel to the floor. Tuck the tailbone forward if you feel like you're arching the back at all. We want the core doing the work here. So keep the low back neutral. Big breath in. Lift the hips. We're going to shift the heels back and down and find our Adho Mukha Svanasana or down dog. Press the belly towards the thighs. We have an internal rotation in the upper arms. Spread those fingers wide, pressing weight forward out of the wrists. Let the heels get heavy. They may not touch the ground. That is fine as long as we're not actively holding them up. We want to just let the heels get heavy. Feel free to bend the knees, lift the heels one at a time, maybe shift the hips left and right. Kind of settle in here, finding a stretch, finding a shape that feels good. Whenever you're ready, walk the feet forward, bending the knees as much as we need to. I'm going to step the feet wide, mat width, with the heels in and the toes out. Have a big breath in here, and on the exhale, I'm going to keep dropping the hips. Bring the hands to heart center, elbows to the knees. I'm pressing the elbows open while I'm squeezing the knees in. Coming into a Malasana Yogi squat. The kneecap, the center of the kneecap and the middle toe on each foot should be pointed in the same direction, so there's no twisting between the foot and the knee. Draw your heart towards the thumbs and the thumbs towards the heart. Sit up tall. If you've got a block, you're welcome to bring a block under the hips here. Big breath in. On the exhale, slowly start to bring the hands back down, the hips up. I'm going to heel toe the feet back in until they are hip width, toes pointing straight forward. Keep as much of a bend in the knees as you need to keep the hands or fingertips or knuckles on the floor. Or if you have blocks, you can bring blocks under the hands to get a little more height here. Press into the hands, lengthen, big breath in, and on the exhale, soften. Maybe even turn the hands palms up. Or you can take ragdoll, crossing palms to opposite biceps, and we just hang. Sometimes it feels good to really gently sway side to side as long as we're not twisting in the knees. This might be nice. Coming back to center, release the hands. Gently straightening the arms. I'm going to bring the hands to the shins, either above or below the knees, but not on the knees. I'm going to straighten the legs. I'm going to press the hands into the shins. lengthening all the way through the crown of the head. One more breath in. And on the exhale, bend the knees, bring the hands back down to the floor. I'm going to step the feet back into down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pressing belly towards the thighs, internal rotation in the upper arms, softening the neck, gripping the fingers into the floor and letting the heels get heavy. Feel free to shift around, bending a knee, lifting a heel, leaning the hips left or right, just finding the stretch, the shape that feels good for your body today. When you're ready, on an inhale, we'll lift both heels. I'm going to start to roll forward, bringing the shoulders over the wrists, bending the knees. I'm going to drop the knees back down into this turbo table shape. Knees are under the hips, hip width, shins are parallel to the floor, shoulders are over the wrists. Neutral through the low back, core is on. Breathe here. One more breath in. On the exhale, lower the knees all the way down. I'm going to take the knees wide, bring the big toes to touch, uncurling the toes, send the hips towards the heels. One more time, I'm going to come up onto fingertips, walk the hands mat width and forward. Let the chest fall towards the floor, maybe bring the forehead or the nose or the chin towards the mat. Feeling the stretch in the upper body, the weight of the hips kind of keeping us grounded as the arms reach forward. When you're ready, let the elbows, the forearms, the palms come to the mat. Gently bringing the palms to the floor, rounding and walking the hands back in. One more time, I'm going to swing the feet around either to the left or to the right. I'm going to come into a seat on my back. Come into a seat with the feet on the floor and the knees bent. I'm going to take the hands to the front of the knees. I'm going to walk the feet all the way in. One more time, lifting the toes, spreading the toes wide, plant them down into the floor. Imagine gripping the toes into the mat. I'm going to check in with the spine. I want to sit up tall, roll the shoulders down. I'm pressing the legs gently in towards each other so that the low body is stable. Big breath in, keeping the spine neutral. On the exhale, I'm going to hinge from the hips back. Be really careful that we're not arching the low back or rounding between the shoulders here, but we're keeping our neutral, straight spine. Looking forward, press the legs into each other. If you really want to check in with your core, get lighter in the hands. Maybe you just hold one hand on the legs. Maybe we switch. Maybe we take both hands off. Keep the spine straight, checking in especially in the low back and between the shoulders. This is a variation of Navasana or boat pose. One more breath in. On the exhale, I'm going to lower down. At some point, we will have to round. That's okay. Try to keep the feet on the floor and just move slowly. Whenever we're all the way down, I'm going to take the arms out. I'm going to walk the feet in, crossing the right ankle over the left thigh. I will interlace the hands either behind the left thigh or on the front of the left shin. Have a big breath in. On the exhale, roll the shoulders down. Press the back of the head, the back of the shoulders, the backs of the arms towards the floor. Keep the right foot flexed. Soften the belly. We're looking for a stretch in the outer upper right hip and thigh. Have a full deep breath in. On the exhale, release that left foot down. I'm going to cross the right knee over the left knee. I'm going to take the arms into cactus arms. That means I have a 90-degree bend in the elbows, backs of the arms, backs of the hands are on the floor, elbows in line with the shoulders. Keeping the neck neutral. Big breath in. On the exhale, the legs are going to fall to the left. Try to keep the right shoulder heavy. You can keep the gaze neutral, looking up or out over the right side, whichever feels better for you. Imagine grounding down through the back of that right shoulder and just unrolling or lengthening down that right side, through the ribs, the low back, the waist, the right hip, the knee, all the way to the foot. Have a big breath in on the exhale, using the strength of your core. Bring the hips back down to the floor. We're going to uncross and switch sides. Bring the left ankle to the right thigh, keeping the left foot flexed. I'm going to reach through and capture either behind the right thigh or on the front of the right shin. Big breath in on the exhale. Roll the shoulders, the head, and the neck down. Bending the elbows, maybe a little more. Maybe pressing the backs of the arms towards the floor. Softening the belly and looking for a stretch in the outer upper left thigh. Big breath in. On the exhale, release that right foot down. I'm going to cross the left knee over the right knee. Take the arms into that cactus arm position. Big breath in, and on the exhale, legs fall to the right. Grounding down through the left shoulder. Let the left shoulder stay heavy. You can look up or out over the left side, whichever feels best for you. Imagine grounding down through the left shoulder as we kind of unroll out and down into this twist on the left side. Bringing the neck back to neutral. Big breath in. On the exhale, using the strength of the core, bring the hips back to center and we will uncross. I'm going to lift the feet off the floor. I'm going to take the hands to the knees. Gluing the knees together, I'm going to draw circles. Massaging out the lower back, the back side of the hips. When you're ready, reversing the direction. And coming back to center. I'm going to let the left foot come to the floor. I'm going to take the right elbow inside of the right knee. Left hand can come down. I'm going to flex the right foot and I'm going to wrap my hand around the outside pinky toe edge of that right foot. I'm going to slowly start opening the sole of the foot towards the ceiling and roll the right shoulder down. Keep the right thigh, the right knee, kind of shadowing parallel to the right side of the ribs. Press the shoulders, the head, the neck, and the hips down. Stretching the spine, stretching the back side of the body, getting some great hip and knee mobility here. Gently release. Let the right foot come down. Let the right hand come down. We'll switch sides. Lift the left foot. Take the left elbow inside of the left knee. Flexing the left foot, we're going to capture the outside edge of the left foot and slowly start to open the sole of the foot towards the sky. Rolling the left shoulder down, keep that left knee hugging in towards the side, towards the ribs. Press the shoulders and the back of the hips down. Half happy baby, second side. Gently release. Taking a moment here to check in with your body to see if there's anything else that wants to move or stretch or wiggle. And if there is, finding that movement, that stretch or that wiggle. And you might also start thinking about how you'd like to take Savasana today, with the only goal to find the most amount of relaxation for the least amount of effort. So if you have props and you'd like to bring something under the back of the head or shoulders, if you'd like to place something over the eyes, if you'd like to bring something under the back of the knees, feel free to make your way into that shape. I'll just be taking the legs out long, turning the hands, palms up. I invite you to close the eyes, have a deep breath in. Imagine filling up from the soles of the feet all the way up to the crown of the head. And as you exhale, imagine releasing not only the breath, but any tension that's left in the body, any tightness in the muscles from the scalp or the forehead. Imagine softening at the corners of the eyes, relaxing the ears and the jaw, softening the shoulders, heavy past the elbows to the hands and fingers. Imagine moving vertebrae by vertebrae down the spine, getting heavier all the way to the back of the hips, softening down the legs, past the knees to the ankles and toes. Keeping your eyes closed, slowly start to bring awareness back to your breath. Breathing in and out through the nose, feeling that gentle rise and fall of breath in the body. Feeling the sensation of the expansion and the gentle falling back towards center. Like waves. Whenever you feel ready, you might find the hands and wiggle the fingers. You might wiggle the toes. You might draw circles at the wrists or the ankles. You might reach the arms out long overhead, pointing the toes, taking up as much space as you can, getting a big stretch. And whenever you're ready, I invite you to bring the feet to the floor with the knees bent. And carefully roll onto your right side, pausing for just another moment. Taking this moment as a transition, taking this moment to honor the work that you just put in, the commitment to yourself, your practice, and your growth. Whenever you feel ready, I invite you to carefully make your way back upright. Sitting up tall, letting the shoulders get heavy, feeling for support and length in the spine. Keeping the jaw and the face soft. It is my absolute honor and pleasure to share practice time with you all today. Thank you for showing up and for allowing me to guide you.